Hey guys, I am Mr. Caffeine, and in this video I'm gonna teach you how to make a hardstyle lead by using toxic biohazards. Before you begin, you need to make sure that you add a lot of sugar and a lot of caffeine, which is why I have my trusty mug of coffee with me. And maybe smoke a little tootalootoo as well. But no, seriously though, don't do drugs. Anyway, when you load up toxic biohazard at first, it will have this arpeggio-like sound, which sounds like this. Sounds pretty cool, right? But we need to reset the program, which we can do by clicking on Options and Reset. So all the values are on its default setting, and we have this basic sine wave, so we can actually create a sound from scratch. And a basic sine wave, like in every other synthesizer, it sounds like this. Yeah, it sounds pretty boring, right? To make this a little more interesting, I loaded up one of those hardstyle MIDIs I have here. This one is The Power of the Mind by Headhunters, which is a cool classic hardstyle track. So let's listen to that for a while. Yeah, it's a pretty nice melody, but it sucks ass because of this sound. So we're gonna spice that up. First thing we do is change this sine wave into a saw, because a hardstyle lead is made up mostly out of saw waves. The way to do that is you can click on these arrows to change the shape of the oscillator. But you can also just click on the word and we're gonna select a saw wave. And now it sounds like this. Yeah, it starts to sound a little bit like a hardstyle lead, but it still really sucks. So we're gonna add a second saw wave. And make sure that image is light up, so that means it's activated, and you do that by clicking on it. And now when you play it, you will notice that it still sounds the same. What is that all about, right? That is where this display comes in. You see, toxic biohazard works like this. It has like 6 oscillators, and they are all numbered in here. And you can see that this here is how much the oscillator is mixed in. So the first oscillator is mixed to 100, and all the other ones are mixed with 0. So that really means they are non-active now. So to activate the second one, you need to look at this second oscillator, go to mix, and then press the left mouse button and drag your mouse up or down to change it. So now we actually have this exactly the same sound twice, which will just make the sound louder. That's not what we want, so we want to change the pitch to +12. Always use units of 12, because that's like a full octave of the on a keyboard. If you, for example, do 10, the note is completely off and it sounds like this. Ugh. Sounds awful, right? But hey, if we do 12, it doesn't really sound that much better. The tone is okay, but the sound is still really crappy. So what are we gonna do with that? That's where the Unison Voices come in. That's a very important feature of every synthesizer. For hardstyle lead, we want as much Unison Voices as we can, which in this case is 8. And now it sounds like this. It's getting there, it's getting there. It still sounds like shit, but that's where the Unison detune and the Unison panning are coming in. So for the hardstyle lead, we want this to be very high, like 80% for this one, around that. But just change it up until it sounds right. And for the Unison panning, about 70 or maybe 80 also. Yeah, it's we're getting there. But still, it kind of misses that aggression, which in a hardstyle synthesizer is so important. So we're gonna add another saw wave for that and make the pitch -12. But with this we want to be a little bit careful with the mixing in. If you do it 100%, it's gonna sound awesome. But here is why you don't want to do that too much. Because if you have too much of a low frequency in the leads for the melody, you're gonna your song will sound very bad, because the basis for the other stuff, right? We have the kick, we have some supporting synthesizers for chords and stuff. So you want to be careful with that lower frequency, as awesome as it sounds. I mean, listen to this. Sounds pretty badass, right? But again, that lower tone will totally fuck up your sound if it's your song if it's too strong. So let's for now go about 80. We also want to add a little bit of noise, and that's you need to be careful with that as well. I mean, it is noise, so it can destroy your sound, so don't mix it in too much. You can hear that it's getting a little bit, it doesn't add too much, but it makes it a little bit more grittier. What I personally like to do, not a lot of people do that, is add a little square into it as well. Don't do that too much, because then it's gonna sound very weird like this. So again, do that just a little bit. You can also have those half square leads, but I'm not gonna do too much complicated things now. And to make it sound a little bit more smooth, you can detune these a bit. Don't use too much detune, because then it's gonna sound like this. But add a little bit of randomness in this will make a hardstyle synthesizer really sound a lot better. So just again tweak this until it sounds right. So and now I'm just gonna do something. You hear already that sounds a lot better than before. So okay, no, it actually sounds pretty decent as well, but it's still missing something, right? That's a little bit of an effect. So I'm gonna just do something very simple, which is reverb. Just select reverb here and make sure you actually check this box so it's actually active. The decay is how long it takes for it to die out. You don't want to have that too high, because hardstyle has those fast melodies, and if you have it too high, the notes will bleed into each other and you get a huge mess like this. See, that's just way too much. So just be a little careful with that. The high cut and the damp and the mix is how strong that effect is gonna be. So I'm just gonna leave all of that alone now. You can of course experiment a little bit with that. We also like to have a little delay, but even more so than in the reverb. Be careful with this, because reverb is echo and the delay is the bouncing off the echo, which is a nice effect. But if you have fast melodies like that and all the notes are like bouncing after the note, it's gonna turn into a huge mess. You need to leave that time alone, because that's the tempo of the bounces, and you really want to have that equal to the BPM, which is always the case when you just leave this one alone. The feedback is how much that bounces back. You hear that the bounces are now almost 100% of the volume. So you want to have that a little down for this, I think. So yeah, I'm not gonna play too much with this. So yeah, now we're pretty much done with this. It sounds pretty good. But again, if you spend a little bit more time tweaking all of this, you can make it sound so much better. I just really wanted to show you guys the concept of how to do this. There's only one more thing I like to teach you, and that is in hardstyle, you usually get that kind of plucky sounds before the melody starts. And you can actually achieve that effect very easily in Toxic Biohazard by using the filter. Now it's off. And now we want to use a low pass filter, and a low pass filter at its own, if you play with this cutoff 0 means that the filter is in full effect, because it cuts off the filter, not the sound, so not to have that be confusing. And turning it all the way up cuts the entire filter off. it's just gonna give us the basic sound. And if you play with that knob, you get this effect. That's something very common in dance music, but in hardstyle we get a distinct plucky sound. And the way to do that is turn the sustain all the way down, turn the release also all the way down. I said all the way. And the decay almost all the way down. Let's have it at about 1.5 seconds or something, like really almost non-existent. And that EG amount needs to be a little higher as well. And if we play with that knob now, we get this effect. See, it's not really there yet, so just keep playing a little bit with these knobs. If you turn this up, it will get much sharper. You want to be a little careful with that. So yeah, you can of course make an automation clip for with that if you put it in the song. I don't think I have to explain that one. I mean, if you're making your own sounds with synthesizers, you probably have some experience with Fruity Loops already, so yeah. Create automation. Start that at about 26% or something. So yeah, that was pretty much it. I hope you guys learned something from this. If you have any more questions, of course, feel free to ask them in the comment section below. Please give me a like and subscribe if you like this video. And I will see you soon enough, guys. Laters!